achieve our mission are to prevent and control disease, enforce state and local regulations, promulgate local health regulations, identify and protect from environmental hazards, and advocate for a healthy community.
I think in general, we know that we're being recorded, and is there anybody else recording? No, okay. And then a brief statement on the rules of behavior. Thank you to the members of the public for attending this meeting. Public comment will be allowed at the discretion of the chair as time allows. And before providing comments, please state your full name, and all comments must be delivered in a manner that respects others. Are there any, is there any on the board or anyone on the board of the audience have anything public comment on items that are not on the agenda? I just want to note I have a future agenda item, but we'll talk about it at the end of the meeting. Okay. All right, our first item is 468 Davisville Road, which is continued from last meeting.
So hi, Scott. So I'll get started by showing you what we came up with. The owner of the property is here, and he can talk after this. The first document is the foundation as-built from the land surveyor, which you would ask for a cleaner copy of what the survey was. The second sheet is the actual septic plan, which won't show the well on it, but I just wanted to give you a relative location of where the septic is. Right. And then I took it upon myself to make a GIS map to kind of give you a larger out picture of roughly where the well is, the SAS, and the neighbor's septic system. And then also in addition, this is what the well application, our well application is not a hard copy. A well application is on Permitize. It's an online form, which the applicant completed. So that's what you have in front of you, and then
good evening. For the record, my name's Kevin Duffy. I'm my wife and I own 468 Davisville Road, which is a new home that's nearing completion, hopefully within the next month or so. And I know the board 2 weeks ago reviewed my request and had a couple of questions. So, as Scott mentioned, I brought in the foundation certified as-built plan, cleaner plan showing the proposed location of the irrigation well that I'm seeking variance for. I'd like to put it somewhere in the order of 20 to 22 feet off of the, what would be the southerly property line. The well that's going to be used for irrigation purposes only.
This is very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is very clear. Does anybody on the board have any comments or concerns?
No.
Right. Any motion?
Motion to, go ahead.
Motion to approve.
The variance from the
variance.
southern property line.
Yes.
I think it's the northern, but
I think it's 20 feet off its southern property line, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
22.
22.
Because this is, it's going right.
yeah, but isn't this?
No. This drawing is more helpful for you.
Okay.
This north is up.
This or north? This one?
Yep.
Southern.
Second.
Okay. Motion is second to approve the irrigation well variance request for 468 Davisville Road. Any other comments?
Even though the property to the south is a vacant cemetery and unlikely to be developed, you're aware that if a septic system were installed to support that property, you would potentially have to move your well.
I heard that a couple of weeks ago.
And then something that came up only in the review of our irrigation well variance is the irrigation wells are subject to the same water restrictions as everything else in town. So watering and based on the drought level. So observe whatever the drought level requirements are from the state and from the town.
Okay.
So that's just, we haven't been noting that, but.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either because, as again, you go around town, you see a lot of people that are watering
Right.
when the ban is on with the,
It's a-
well water in
Yeah.
use and, okay.
So I think it's something that we're going to talk about in a few minutes with the well
Okay. I'm
regulations.
sure a lot of people will be surprised to hear that.
Yes.
Yes. Or just knowing it and ignoring it, which a lot of
Yeah,
people.
there's that. So, all in favor? Aye. All right, good. Thank you for the, sorry for the,
Yeah, this should be a model for future,
yes, this is much nicer.
this is so clear.
Not the first.
Okay,
Right, that's true.
oh, there's George. Excellent. Perfect. Our next, yes, sorry about that. Our next item of business is 12 Bryan Lane, appeal of orders to correct issue under State Sanitary Code Chapter 2.
So I'll start. Morgan, our housing inspector, on April 7th, on April 2nd, did a housing inspection upon a tenant's request and came up with these orders to correct. I just want you to note that the conditions deemed to endanger is determined, the housing code determines which ones are more important than others, so to speak. Those have been corrected, so the window lock in the laundry room and the left bedroom has both been done.
Okay.
There was also a lead determination that came back negative. There was a child under the age of 6, but the lead determination came back negative. That's not in this report because that would be a separate sort of whole thing. The lead laws are a little bit separate. So these other issues, and so the owner is here of the property, the landlord, and I'll let him speak, but I just wanted to let you know that the two items were correct.
Excellent.
Hi, my name's Don Fricchione. I own the property at 12 Bryan Lane, and I'm here because the tenant, when he first moved in, White Cart Realty, who is a very respected realtor in the area, is a person that rented the property out to him, made sure the property was in pristine shape. It was perfect. And I don't know how do I move this around? Some pictures.
And just scroll.
It's a little hard to draw out.
By hand? I'm sorry.
See, just with the scroll bar.
Okay. This, I don't know if you can see that.
We do have.
We've got it. Okay. That's how it looked the month before he moved in. Christine Simpson was a teacher in the Falmouth school system. She lived there for about 6-7 years. What I had did a month before, and the reason I took that picture was I recited it because she was moving out and he was going to be moving in. So I had it all recited. I had the inside done. It was in perfect shape, and I have pictures to prove it, moving in, etc. Don't know. One of the things was the doorway supposedly doesn't shut now. Well, you can see, and the light wasn't working, is one of the things there. As you can see, it was at that time. So I had no idea that that's what was going on. When I finally went in to check everything out, the tenant has been trying to do everything. I know it doesn't matter, but I haven't received any rent in 6 months. And so I'm in the process of getting him out. So he's trying everything to stay. What I was going to say was, when I finally went in there to look at it, I almost cried because I saw what was going on with the walls and everything. If you look, there were stickers on all the walls, etc. There was, above the fireplace, or what was a fireplace, there's stickers all over there and everything, and I don't even know if I can get them off. But he called for a mold concern. They went out. They couldn't find any mold. They finally went up in the attic and found they called it a dime size thing. They went in for thousands of dollars and got it taken care of. Gave me the certificate, as you can see there. So I had that taken care of. And then this is when he called the health department to see if he can do whatever on everything else that's there. Basically, I guess what I'm saying is the tenant should have some, and I know there is a statute that says they do have to keep the property in some semblance of what it was like when they moved in. And it's nothing like what it moved in. I have contractor statements that I think you have there as well, that went into, they were gonna fix the mold, and they called me up separately and said, geez, you gotta come in here, this place is a dump on the inside. And this was just a month or two ago. So yes, I will be fixing all the minor things that are there. I think there's a few knobs and a few little things going on. I just don't want anything else to happen. I don't want them to call up and say, oh, there's this, there's a hole here, there's a hole there. The house was in perfect shape when he moved in. And I guess that's my statement.
Do you have, I know a lot of times with tenants, there's a written form when people go into a place with the security deposit,
Yep.
that they agree that X and Y and Z is the case.
I have, Weicker Realty had I think I have it here, it's like
Yeah.
a 15-page, not application, lease.
Yeah.
They sign, they can't do this, can't do that. I mean, I could put it up, and it'd be boring to show you. I can give it
Okay.
to you if you'd like. But that was all done. I had before and after pictures as well. And I don't know if you got, there's a couple of pictures there that were before and after, I think you have. They might have been mixed in there,
Yeah, we have a number of them.
okay?
hard to
I have the whole rest of them. Again, I should have probably given you all of them, but I wasn't sure I had them, but I have them all here if you need them. These are all the before and after.
Yeah.
I have a picture of the tile. There's a tile separation between one room and the kitchen, and in there it says it's cracked. It wasn't cracked when they moved in. I don't know what happened. I mean, yeah, I will fix it, but I'm just letting you know. It was nothing that to my doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott, what do you need us to do here?
So
I have
essentially,
the neighbors as well that called me, and I have their statements that there was mounds of trash in the back, which I had people go out there and scour the outside of the lawn, clean it all up. I have a receipt for April for $1,000 here.
Right.
so, the housing clock is ticking, right? So you have an order to correct. And his appealing today is asking you to alter the clock, stop the clock, or continue with the clock. So I think what you need to decide is whether you would allot more time. I mean, in the orders, I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but there's a date in which these need to be corrected by. It is,
Once he's out.
they took care of the 12,
doing the
the
entire
30,
house.
to begin to correct within 7 and full correction within 30. And we're kind of up on the 30. So your question is, you could say, rookie mistake. So essentially, it's up to you whether you want to do something with the clock, because we have a set of orders about to expire, because 30 days after the second, it's getting
right.
kind of close. And whether you want to extend the orders to some point in time. That's really what he's asking, because it's him petitioning you
Okay.
to appeal that decision.
Are all the critical violations taken care of?
Yeah, the two that were critical with the locks have been taken care of. Morgan has inspected those.
And, I mean, and looking at a lot of these are little things. I mean,
Right.
yeah, these are very little things.
Yeah, it's not like we don't have any heat in January, correct?
Right,
Right.
Yes.
right.
I mean,
Did you hear anything from the tenant?
The tenant has been notified and is free to have come to the meeting. The tenant is not here.
And the tenant has received an eviction notice?
What's that?
The tenant has received an eviction notice?
Oh, yes.
okay.
When is the notice to, sir? When is he served notice to? When does he have to
Originally,
vacate?
I was served him like 3 or 4 months ago, and then he asked that He said that he could get the back rent through a state agency.
Hold on, microphone, just
Go
use
back to the mic.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
The
thanks.
the tenant, I originally served him through an email process about 3 or 4 months ago, and he had told me that he could get the back rent through a state agency, raft or something like that. He applied for that, I applied for that, so I was holding back the eviction process. Then he told me that he can't get it. I got a notice about a month ago saying that he didn't apply, couldn't get it. And so that's when I officially had the constable serve him about a month ago.
Okay, and you've been to court?
Yes, not court yet. I've got the process going. The constable has already served him. The 30-day notice, I guess, is ticking down, and that should be within a week or two. And then I'm not sure when the court date will be after that.
So the inspection took place after he was served?
Well, I don't know, we don't get involved with the serving of the notice. So the April 2nd was when the inspection was done. Did you serve notice prior to that, April 2nd?
I served, yes.
Prior to that?
How long before?
Prior to
Prior to April 2nd, yeah.
April 2nd,
Yeah.
you had the constable serve him with the notice.
Should have it here.
Scott, what were the two things that were already fixed?
So if you look at the code, you have the inspection in front of you?
Yep,
So the two that are considered deemed,
got it.
yeah, there's different levels in the housing code, things that need to be fixed quicker than others. The two quick items were done, which is the locks. I think it's on the back of the inspection form, of the orders to
It
correct.
was, I believe, officially served on the 7th.
7th of April, sir?
And when did the complaint come in from the tenant?
So we did the inspection on, sorry, let me try to find it.
Came in before that because he did the inspection on the 2nd.
But the report was dated, jeez.
The report is dated on the 7th. The complaint inspection was on the 2nd.
So it would have been certified mail on the 7th.
But the tenant asked for the inspection sometime prior to April 2nd.
Right.
Yes, yes. Usually we try to get within 48 hours.
Okay.
Call on a Friday, we
Okay,
try
I'm
to.
just trying to establish whether the complaint was made and then he was served, or he was served and then he made the complaint. That's
Well,
all want.
I had served him originally.
Well, you did that by email, sir, not
Yeah.
a legal means of doing
Right.
it. So all we know is that you made some whatever effort,
Okay.
but it was an illegal effort until you had him served on the 7th.
Which, yep, and the date of the letter is the 7th, but by certified mail, I don't know exactly what day it came in on certified mail. My guess is it'd be a couple days later.
Right. I was more interested in when the complaint was lodged relative to when he received notice of eviction. And it was before that. So he didn't do, the tenant isn't saying, well, you served me on the 7th, I'll get you. You know, he's not coming back. He had, prior to being served, got the notice, got the inspection.
But on the other hand, he probably knew it was coming,
Right.
right? Because he had been,
Well, he knew it's, from what we hear right now, there was an email at some point before that.
yeah.
But I wouldn't know that he knew that it was coming on the 7th or that it was coming at all.
Yeah, but it's a
Sure.
reasonable, yes, but it's a reasonable expectation of that. So what precisely would you like us to do? Would you like us to give
Just
you an
if you could
extra?
push it, I'm definitely going to be fixing everything. Once he moves out, I have got to
Right.
redo the whole house, and I understand that. I just don't want to do it while he's living there, because if he's there, he may be breaking other things and putting more holes in, I don't know.
Okay.
Sir, can I ask if it's been very adversarial with him, or is he just sort of just,
Not, I wouldn't call it adversarial until he started calling up everywhere just, to get back, I guess, to get at me.
or to just maintain his own?
Maintain his residence, correct.
Right. Okay. So I think a proper procedure would be for the board to first make a finding whether the remaining things are materially endangering or anything like that. If there's anything you would think. The code does not call any of these endangering.
Right.
These are relatively minor, but that should be a finding to anything we do as far as allowing a longer repair period. Because right now, it looks like it's heading toward either he's going to accept an eviction notice or it's going to go to court. And we don't know the outcome of that right now. So extending it beyond a period of when he is supposed to be evicted is probably not as appropriate, but it's up to the board. But I think the first finding should be that the remaining things that we see here, and our health agent has testified to this also, that these are minor and not materially impacting the health or well-being of the people in the house at this point. So I will make that motion,
So,
for discussion anyhow.
okay, so a motion to extend, how would you phrase that?
I think is to acknowledge that the remaining things, after an effort has been in good faith to repair those things which are endangering,
Right.
the remaining items are considered minor and not materially affecting the health and well-being of the people within the house. They've obviously lived with it. Some of them, they caused it. It's obvious because we've seen pictures of it before and after. So they've been living with it in a while. The other things that are critical according to the code have been taken care of. In good faith, he seems to be proceeding. What I think he wants to avoid is any conflict with the person while they're in the house. So I think we first need to motion that these are not.
I'll second for discussion.
My only question on these items or potential concern is the missing knobs to operate the stove top.
Yeah.
Could you potentially leave the stove on and not realize it because the knob is?
So I think that's a good point. And you could still require any individual item on there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you could provide, you could make a motion and say with the exception of the knobs on the stove, which the owner of the property needs to provide within X number of days.
How about the electrical cables, wires in the living room on the baseboard needing protective covering? Are there
Yeah,
uninsulated wires?
I'm wondering about that too. Do you know what that one's
I
about?
think it's just a,
Wire
Plate.
mold?
Oh, the plate may be missing.
it's just a plate.
Well, if you have young children, I think the plate should be put on.
Yes, yeah.
Is that what it, do we know? Is that what it is?
Honestly, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Do you mean the plate of a plug?
Just a plate.
probably, well, we don't know for
Covering
certain,
on
so.
Or a switch or plate?
Baseboard.
It says loose,
Okay.
so that's
Oh.
different than a plate missing probably.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I-
presumably you can't tighten a screw to fix this.
I would add that to something that should be addressed.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't actually, so we don't really have a full motion because we've been,
Well, we have opened a discussion.
We have open
and it's
discussion.
being modified now by the fact that there's two
a couple of
things.
things that the board has got some concern about, but the full motion is, you've just found, we just have a finding,
Right,
and what we don't have is an action.
right.
So is any, do you want to add an action?
If I could suggest, George could amend his motion
Yeah.
to exclude those two items from that finding.
Okay, I'll amend the motion to remove two items from the list of things that we deem less important and not as materially hurting the health or welfare of the people inside, and those are the knobs on the stove, which should be corrected, and the electrical wires in the living room baseboard.
Secured.
Being secured,
Yeah.
okay. And
And
so we have,
With that finding, then? do we
With the
have a
finding that
motion
the-
To
Yes,
extend the time period for the
to extend
remaining
the time
repairs?
period.
Okay.
But we do need to figure what the time period is for those two things.
It seems like we can make it two separate actions. So-
Yep.
Okay, so I'll second the amendment. You see, Judd?
yes, motion and a second to, yes.
You also haven't voted on the findings. Remember, you wanted to do a first vote that George recommended,
The
right?
findings.
That's what we're
Yes.
talking
We're
about.
we're going to amend the findings.
That's what you're doing now, okay.
So a motion and a second to amend the findings to exclude the two items.
Should that include a time frame?
We will
No,
add a
No,
timeframe
we'll
at
add
the end.
that with the action, which
Yeah,
will be the order.
Usually we do this around the way around. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay, what were the two items?
I'll restate this so you
Okay.
can get it. We're doing this somewhat backwards. Usually what we would say is, we would say,
We
give you
order
a,
the correction and the findings for those two items, and the
Right.
finding would be that the others are not materially hurting the people.
Yeah, I
right, and we would give you a time frame for both things.
Right.
And what we've done is we've done it backwards. I apologize, but
It's still logical,
Yes. Right.
but so we also need a vote on the original motion as well. So we just voted on the amendment.
yeah, we sort of, he's got a motion on the findings. Let's actually have him
I amended that.
amended findings, so, but we don't have a motion on an action, and so I don't think we can.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to do it all?
I'd like actually to have an action and then the findings.
Okay.
Okay, so you want him to withdraw the motion?
No. Withdraw,
Yeah,
so we could do it correctly.
let's do it correctly then.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is the time frame on the knobs and the wiring?
I would say those should still be within the 30 days, right? They were issued an initial letter, so that would be by May 7th?
Is that
May
reasonable?
7th or May 2nd?
I just don't think he's going to be out by then, and I mean, I can go and replace him, but
Just those twos, because the two items that we're talking about are the missing knobs for the kitchen stove.
So that the stove could not be left on and you wouldn't know it.
okay.
The
That's a
pilot
safety.
didn't
Now,
light or
there's no
something.
way he could be accountable for that. I mean, if it's a brand-new stove delivered to him, and now they're missing knobs, and it's my fault?
The problem is here that I know they need to be replaced anyway.
And I
It's just-
understand, yes.
And so what we're looking at this is from a
Safety point.
A safety point.
And I will
Whether or
do
not
it.
he's.
Believe me, I will do it if you want me
Yeah.
to. I'm not adversarial.
I have complete sympathy for you. You have documented that this was in good condition before, and it's not in as good condition now. And so we just need to make sure that the people living there are safe, and then the rest of the issues can be addressed.
So the wiring piece and
Yes.
the knobs.
Can we give Scott the authority to ask the person who did the inspection?
Just did.
Sorry?
I just did.
About the electrical
It
wires?
looked like an old cable wire missing a cover. She is looking on her phone for a picture, so it's like a cable
Oh,
wire.
it might have been the cable, kept the cable.
In that case, it's not electrical.
Yeah, then that's.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's what she says. It looked like an old cable wire. So that would be a coax.
Yeah, it's
Coax.
coax.
Black.
She's looking for a picture now, so.
Okay.
So if we can confirm that, then that's.
Yeah, I don't think you have to
Then
worry.
it
That would be helpful.
Well, we can confirm that. If it is indeed, you can make a decision if it's indeed an electrical wire and not a cable wire.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
We can,
That's right.
We can handle that.
Yeah.
So the real question, the question for the board is, what timeline for the knob replacement and what timeline for the remaining things?
Right.
Do we have some people who've been on the board long enough to give us a little precedent here of other times and things that are even remotely similar, which I have no experience here?
I don't remember anything about knobs on a.
No, I
But I
no, I
also.
mean the other stuff, the other
Oh, the
stuff.
other things, yeah, I would say they're minor, and we could allow an extended period for those until some legal matters got straightened out.
So would we want to be,
We need a
give it
number
a
for
specific
the number.
time?
30 days.
30, an additional 30
30
days?
days.
And then you could come back if needs
Yep.
be and ask for another 30 days, depending on what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like I said, I'm definitely going to be fixing it. I'm not gonna.
No,
I
we know
just
that.
would rather do it when he's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
understood.
That's- Okay,
Yeah.
so now we have 2 actions, and then we have some findings.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to extend the timeline for all of these repairs, with the exception of the kitchen oven knobs and possibly the wires in the living room baseboard.
If they're found to be electrical.
If they are AC power, not coaxial cable.
That works.
So, but is that backwards? So
That's okay.
if they are, yeah, if they
I'll
are,
receive it.
if they are not AC power, then they're, will be included with everything else and not with the missing knobs.
Right.
Let me rephrase that.
Would like to make a
I would like to make a motion that the missing knobs for the oven and the electrical wires, if they are AC 120 volts or any voltage dangerous to people, be repaired in the original time frame, that is by 30 days after April 7th, and that all the other repairs be extended for another 30 days.
Telephone? I'm looking for
An
an
additional 30 days.
Okay. Is there a second?
second.
It's not coaxial.
Oh, it's an old phone wire.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an old phone wire,
I don't know, phone wire. Okay,
telephone.
so that's
Can we
fine.
just amend it?
Yeah, we'll just eliminate
leave
that.
it.
Further,
Yeah.
if you guys,
Shush. Glasses.
Yeah, that's just phone line. Okay,
George remembers knob and tube, so let's show George.
okay. We have a motion and a second to extend the repair time for 30 days, an additional 30 days for all of the items with the exception of the kitchen oven, which is missing the knobs, which, and that item should be repaired within the original 30 days, which is by May 7th, with the finding that all the rest of the repairs we do not deem to endanger or materially impair health.
Okay, so just the oven knobs.
So just the oven knobs in the next week or so.
Do I question, do I have to, now he's a stickler on not letting me in or whatever?
I can answer
mean, how do I?
That's an easy one. So this is what our policy is for this, is you can give them 3 dates for them to choose. So you can say Monday, this date, Tuesday, that date, Wednesday, that date, from such and such a time, pick one. If he refuses to pick one, then that, to me, always stops the clock.
Okay.
Right, so because you have to give them opportunities, pick some times that are convenient for you and let them know that you'll be
Okay.
coming in on this day, because you do have to let your tenant know within 24 hours, with a 24-hour leeway. So you could say, pick 3 dates, and we need to know which date I can come in to put the knobs on.
Scott, would it be a good idea for him to communicate with the tenant via either text or email or something written with a copy to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have to give me, well, if you want a copy of the 3 dates and times, fine. But track, yes,
Just
you
so-
definitely want to track everything in writing. Text is fine, it's just, we should just have a,
Okay.
All right, so we do need to vote on this.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Yes, so work with Scott. Scott has experience with this. There are office policies, which he's explained, and there will also be an action item, a formal decision from the Board of Health generated as a consequence of this vote.
Okay.
And so that would also be something you would probably want to include in any legal filings. You will need that.
When do the knobs have to be in by? What's that?
We said May 7th.
May 7th.
Right.
Did you need to ask for if there were nays? Do you have to do that?
Oh, yes. I said all in favor, and I thought I heard everybody saying aye.
So, oh,
I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
agreeing. I just thought maybe.
No, I heard everybody say aye, so I didn't, okay, well, I can ask if you'd like.
but we had that original motion.
Which he withdrew.
Oh, he withdrew it, okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, good guess.
Okay. Scott, I know can help you. He's had a lot of practice, unfortunately had a lot of practice with this sort of issues, and will help you guide you through these with a good way of doing
I
it.
gotta find the knob somewhere.
Well, yeah, if it's a relatively new stove, it should be all right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can't, that. All right. Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
We have, I have sympathy for you, so.
All right, thank you.
All right. Our next item is IA system monitoring. Are you set up, George?
So let me start by letting you know that your individualized data went out with the letters last week, so.
Okay, good.
So they all went out last week, and they've all been notified of the Zoom with a link to be provided later, because I haven't done the link yet.
Right.
When is the Zoom?
The 11th.
11th.
May 11th. And,
I won't be here.
but you can still join on Zoom.
As discussed, you will be joining from somewhere else in the world.
It might be.
I'm teasing.
Glorious North Carolina.
It's all right. If you're,
So I don't know,
Good job,
George, do you
I'll
want
try.
any of this up or not?
You don't need it. I
We've
mean,
already-
it's basically the letter that we agreed upon,
This will be for the
Yeah.
public, yeah.
the little guideline on how to read the chart,
yep.
a list, I put a list in everybody's, of all the ones. Now, the only thing I'll say is that these lists that we I gave out, and the drafts that we put out, they probably aren't totally complete, but there are enough here to chew on. Because in the database, when I pulled it out, there were probably 30 systems that somehow came through the filter with no operator on them. But I decided rather than trying to go through and figure out where those are, get these things out, because there's enough for
Yeah.
each one to chew
Right.
on.
Right, absolutely. And some of these are very out of compliance.
Yeah, some of them are extremely far
Wow.
out.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at a lot of, just as an aside, look for some of the reasons why D-night systems might not work to the point where these graphs are indicating. That being very high TKN, means they're not
Right.
nitrifying, because if you don't nitrify, you can't denitrify unless you're in the Ammonox. So I looked at those things that would keep it from nitrifying. Of course, low alkalinity is one, which would be easily corrected. No air to the system. I also looked back at the records when we were doing some work with fast units, that if they're not pumped after a year and a half, 2 years, they start going south just like this, because they just cannot nitrify the wastewater. But there are also some drugs, believe it or not, aspirin. Yeah,
How much aspirin?
it would have to be quite a bit. I mean, but I was interested to see that there is a process that uses acetaminophen just to actually stop the nitrification process midway, so it can effectively, you don't need as much oxygen, and you denitrify through anaerobic.
Oh, so acetaminophen, not
Yes,
aspirin.
I'm sorry, I meant acetaminophen.
Oh, acetaminophin, okay.
Anesthesiologist.
Okay,
Tylenol.
I don't know.
Yeah.
yes.
And there are also some drugs that would be used for diabetics that might do it, but they'd have to be in such large quantity that, I mean, the biggest one is your stuff that would be quaternary ammonium.
Right.
And that most likely is what's happening in a lot of them.
Yeah.
This comes from things like, of course, all your cleaners that you use the habit. I really was glad to see that Dawn dishwashing liquid is actually not, it's not contraindicative of,
And good for birds.
yes.
Only,
It is.
only the blue. All the other formulations are garbage. Only by the blue.
But things like dryer, what I didn't think is dryer sheets. Cationic ammonium is what does it. It actually, what it does is actually work on the cell membrane and it leaks. It causes the cell membranes of nitrifiers to leak.
But they're dryer sheets.
Yeah, they shouldn't be going
Yes.
into the wastewater.
Dryer sheets.
No, but
No,
what I'm getting at-
no, using dryer sheets gets the stuff
gets it
on your
onto your
clothes,
clothes, and then
you
it
wash
washes it.
out.
Yeah.
And so it's getting in, the concentrations are sufficient in a,
No, but if you were like excessively using it, and that could be one additive thing. You could like quaternary ammonia, you use dryer sheets.
Right,
You
I was
put
gonna
the
say.
Tylenol in like crazy.
it probably takes a lot of time, I imagine.
But the biggest one is the quaternary ammonia.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
can look for patients with liver failure, and we'll know about the acetaminophen overdoses.
Right. Well,
It's a real problem.
Oh, no, oh, yes.
Kids take it as they think they're doing a suicide,
Oh,
attention to get care.
right,
And they take a bunch of acetaminophen,
right,
and they die
Right.
from liver failure.
right.
So there's a lot of drugs that'll do it, but
It is.
the big thing is quaternary ammonium and cleaning products, antiseptics,
Right.
So,
antibiotics.
Oh, yes.
Do some of the anti-cancer agents, like
Yes.
the fluorouracil is a really.
Yes, fluorouracil, there is some fungicides that do the same thing.
so Jen,
Yes.
it seems like probably the more common problem of what you just described would be not pumping it enough, right? I mean, nobody pumps their tank every year and a half, right?
Well,
And
for fast units, they should definitely be probably pumping it more than the average bear.
yeah,
I mean, a septic tank with 2, 3 people in the house, 5 to 7 years is fine.
yeah,
But that same system cranking with, something that's very aerobic, not only fast, but singular and some of the other ones that really bubble the air in, should probably be done within 2 years.
and why is that? What's the feedback that
Well, because the sludge, you
it
create a whole lot more
consumes all the
sludge.
oxygen?
You
Oh.
create a whole lot more sludge. Your septic tank is extremely efficient. That's like 90% mass reduction there. But
Yeah.
once you pump air into it, you keep the sludge, and then it flocks and builds up, and then it starts clogging all the things that do the nitrification piece of it, because it becomes anaerobic around all the media, and there's no aerobic. The air starts bypassing it. There's a lot of things that go on with the extra sludge that is formed by aerobic treatment.
That's a pretty serious drawback of the
Well,
technology.
it is in one way, but, it's a very common technology, but on the on-site side, that first tank really isn't that big, because a fast unit and singular, they don't have septic tanks in front of them. Everything is happening right there. So they're expecting a lot of a small area. And if they're loaded at, half the design flow, they're probably fine. But, we see a lot of increased flow in the summer, so.
Right. Yes, George?
I know in the letters, and I think in the regulations, you pointed out to us that the maintenance is supposed to include pumping with the guidelines for the unit.
Yes.
So theoretically, at least, the operators are supposed to know that those two kinds of units are supposed to be pumped every year and a half?
Correct. They should know that it's every couple of years, but they don't generally tell people.
No,
And a lot of times they will tell them, and the people say, no,
Ignore it. Yeah.
they ignore it.
Okay.
Right.
So in our, in any of our regulations, are we putting something where we have to get reports of pumping?
Not really.
It seems like if that's an important parameter, maybe the single most important parameter, we ought to require getting that reported.
Well, I think what we are going to talk to, when we talk to the operators, we're going to find out what the resistance is to pumping by people. We're also going to find out whether they are advising their people about pumping.
Right.
And I think one of the main people, WTS, vends that system, and we can ask them directly, what is your recommendation? Because we're not sure it's being adhered to.
But regardless of what the recommendation is, a year from now, we're not going to know who's doing it unless the
Right.
system fails. And the whole goal is to not have the systems fail in the first place.
We'll have a number of measurements from between, well, should have 2 to 4 measurements between now and then.
Wouldn't it be incredibly easy to require someone, either the owner or the operator, to report every time they get pumped?
It could be, maybe it needs to be a database entry in this when they report the
Or
total
maybe
nitrogen.
the operator should put it as
operator.
part of their inspection
Right.
Yeah. How often do they inspect?
quarterly.
Quarterly.
So, yeah.
Unless we've
Some of
given
them
them,
are up to their once a year now.
Well,
yeah,
even
but
if
we
it's once a year, it's
shouldn't, we
enough.
shouldn't have done
Yeah.
that, I think, in
No, the once a
retrospect.
year for general use approval for maintenance is pretty common. Monitoring may be quarterly, but operational
Oh, right.
maintenance may be once a year.
So for the ones that are failing badly right now, I think if we fail them, if we say this is a failed system, then they go back to quarterly testing, right?
Correct.
So,
And some of them, some of these are, remember, these are legacy, these go way back.
Yeah.
some of
Right.
them.
We,
In short, we don't really know why they're failing. We can guess,
right,
but I think we'll get a lot from discussing with the operators.
yeah,
And if I can get the water records from these, which I'm still having some trouble communicating with our water department on that, then we might be able to pair them up and see, geez, you're using so much water, you're not getting enough residence time in here.
Right.
And then I don't know what we do about that, but that would at least explain it. Yes.
One of the things, too, is seasonal use, especially on some of these units that don't really get cranking, denitrifying until July when they show up in June. And that's not really, is there a seasonal checkoff in the county data?
Yes.
A seasonal? All right, I guess,
Well, you won't see samples throughout the winter on any of them
okay.
if they're seasonal.
Because I think part of it's, too, they sit, they have to be reseeded essentially, right? Because they kind of starve a little bit over the winter or not?
yeah, it's not full reseeding, but
They do if they were really running the whole, but these things come back up quite quickly,
yeah.
particularly the BOD TSS gets right away, and then the nitrifiers start going pretty quick, particularly in the warm weather. So I'm doing now what I've been looking at and what I tried to show you before, but I know data is really boring sometimes, but I ran these charts with the systems that had enough samples to see which ones are sensitive to cold weather. So I took all the cold weather months and all the warm weather months for the same system and said, do they still show up the same way they do in the winter
Right.
as they do in the summer? As you know, these are all the months together, but I parsed them out with two different graphs, said, okay, here's winter, here's summer. Now, many of them fail both times for the same reason, they're not nitrifying. So those, I would suspect, right immediately would be, yeah, we got an alkalinity problem where they're killing their system with something. A lot of ammonia, a lot of whatever, a lot of bleach, whatever they do. But I also put together a very sort of cartoony thing that I'm going to suggest to the operator's handout. It tells exactly what's good and bad for your system.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't put all the drugs down there, but I did say the big thing is quaternary ammonia, bleaches, things like that, overusing them.
You didn't.
How about those blue cakes that people put in their toilets so they eat pink cakes, that every flush?
Yeah, those are the same thing. They're disinfectants.
Are they
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of the things, you know, is-
chlorine essentially?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're slow
That's
release
every
chlorine
flush.
tablets.
Every flush
Yeah.
has got one of them on there. I don't, ask me how I know. It's been a battle at home.
It has been with me too, Scott, so I finally won.
I'll
You
never,
want to see blue, use food dye or something.
I've lost every battle in my life, so I don't even bother anymore. So.
Okay,
So on May 11th, we'll get,
Yep.
I think, a real education from them.
yep,
And I'm going to be continuing to look at the data from the real badly operating systems to see whether I can get the water data.
so, yes.
Before we leave this discussion
Yep.
item, connected with this,
Yep.
at the last Water Quality Management Committee, Steve Rafferty implored me to implore you to send him this data, which you and he have discussed. You're sending to him, I
Yes.
believe. He awaits it with anticipation.
Oh. That's for the feedback.
And also, they pointed out that apparently the Mass DEP has come up with a new list of best available nitrogen reduction systems. When I looked at the Mass DEP website, there's no indication of the date of things, so I have no idea if I was looking at old stuff or new stuff.
Yeah,
And speaking of which, if one searches for the regulations, septic regulations for Falmouth, which I did a couple of times for a couple of different reasons in the last couple of days, sometimes you get the old regulations and sometimes you get the new regulations, which we've just modified on a web search. And only our new regulations have a date on them, so you have no idea what you're looking at. And I can send you, Jed or Scott or whoever wants to see them, the web addresses, which are different.
Okay.
And I,
Yeah, send them to Scott, he'll take a look at the website. I know it's,
Well,
okay.
town code has got a bunch in the queue. So
Okay.
the regulations, when I send them to town code, are not just quickly updated, because the way town code,
But they're in there if you search hard enough and say the newest regulations. But if you don't put newest, so to my mind, they shouldn't both be there.
in town code, they should not. We've submitted to town code a few updates.
Anyway, I'll send it to you.
On our website, if you go to the website, under each of the different disciplines, you know, septic or food or whatever, the most recent regulations will be updated like within a week on our website. Town code is something that's not operated by the town, so you send it to them, and they update it, the software company, or whatever the company is. So they do have a bunch in the queue. The septic reg has been with them for quite a while, the 1115 remodel code.
Yeah, and then the other thing that came up at that meeting was that a lot of their requirements, they're writing in terms of mass balance and eliminating 75% in terms of IA systems functioning correct. And I hadn't recalled any of ours having mass balance, but in fact they do.
They do have an
As an
accommodation
or.
for it.
Yes, yes.
But-
And they're 70%, not 75%. And so one of the things I mentioned to them is it would seem to me more than a mere convenience to have regulations that we write, the watershed plans that they're writing, and the Mass DEP regulations and specifications be at least somewhat consistent and dependent on the same variables. And so a thing I would like to suggest is that we have more joint meetings with them. Also, they're going to have a presentation soon from the people who make the nitro system. And they have questions that, if I heard them, I don't recall them. But it seemed like, again, something where we should be sharing information. And I'm happy to frequently, if not always, go to their meetings, I
All right.
guess.
If you have the time, that would be extremely helpful.
Yeah. And on May 6th at 6:30, there's going to be a test of the permeable reactive barrier at question site, is what my notes say, if that's of interest.
Test of it or a discussion?
A
of
monitoring.
Performance. Okay.
One of those things.
Okay.
Old man, bad memory,
A
and didn't write
passive
fast
technology.
enough. Yes.
Snug Harbor?
Yeah, probably.
Now,
or-
that sounds
Yeah.
Right.
faintly familiar. Okay.
Yeah, so they will be, as of, actually, at their meeting on Wednesday, I have the agenda, they will describe the Snug Harbor permeable reactive barrier progress.
Sorry, is that what about it? Are they installing it?
No, it's
already
been
in.
there, and I think they're going to report on measurements of its
Is it
utility.
similar to the one that was at Wacoit Bay, the head of the Wacoit Bay? Or?
I
Yeah.
assume
Yes.
so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I believe though, doesn't the Snug Harbor one use the oil instead of the wood?
I think it does.
I think it does.
So an
It's been a while
injection of
since I
oil?
looked at it.
Oil injection instead of the wood barrier that was put in at Wacoit.
And I can't remember I have information, actually, I have an email about it, in terms of how far apart
Yeah.
the oil was. If you give me a second, because there was also some modeling.
Who's
I
doing
think
it?
I'm on the presentation.
Who's doing that?
Who is the
Ken, is
contractor?
it Ken Foreman?
Ken Foreman's presenting.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's Ken's project.
Okay.
So I think the injection interval, I think, is 32 feet.
And I suspect that everyone sitting here except me, if they look at the new Mass DEP site, can tell if those are the new Banner systems or the old ones. But apparently they've changed.
The only ones they include, there are none that I know that have been included that get down to 10 milligrams per liter.
No, there's one. Nitrex, is it?
Well,
Provisionally.
there's provisional, there's some pilots with FujiClean,
And the nitro is provisional to 11.
yes. And the Nitrex is provisional to 10.
right.
Right.
And the rest are 19.
And the rest are at 19.
Yes.
And did you see Amphidrome is in there, but is it less than 2,000 GPD?
Right.
system now?
They,
I thought they were applying for a larger,
yeah, I thought they were applying for
because we were
larger
talking about
too.
it for a
That's
multi.
right, 4,000 something.
Mhm. And they're at 19 as well with that.
But that's,
the
but that's
other-
also because that's what they've asked for.
That's right,
And
correct.
And the last thing that came up at that meeting and subsequently is the lack of action of the select board on a equitable distribution of the cost burden.
Committee.
And, yeah, so as far as I know, nothing is happening there.
So George, there was one thing I know that was brought up, the whole mass balance thing.
Yeah.
We allow for it in our regulation that they could go through the mass balance calculation. But what probably came up was the fact that some systems can't do it because you don't know what the influent is. Something like a fast unit, for instance, you can't take the influent number. There's no place to take it.
Sample.
Because it's already mixed. It recycles back to the front part of the system. Larger ones, maybe they have septic tanks ahead of them and then go into a fast unit. You could do it, but for the most part, you can't. So if an engineer comes to us with that, they're going to have to explain how they figured out what the influent is. I mean, you could do it. Imagine, I mean, if you've got any ammonia there, and you've got nitrate back, because you're going to get it, nitrate in that influent sample you take, you might be able to mathematically figure out what did you start with.
Right.
So it's going to be a challenge for any engineer to do it. I know that there are 2 companies that tried now, and down in the Chesapeake, to make a convincing argument, but it did not convince the folks in the Chesapeake that they were doing it, so.
Yeah, the other thing is knowing the water volume, because if somebody has an irrigation system, for example,
Right.
you're going to way overestimate the water volume, presumably.
Yeah.
Right.
And the one thing I did, as I said, I've been trying to get in touch with the water department, but I guess he's busy enough that can't get back. But we may think about, with these new systems going in, because we're going to want to mass balance at some point, is to install meters that would give a daily, monthly total rather than what, I don't know, but I'm guessing the water department must just have meters that totalize 3 months at a time.
It's 6 months at a time.
But,
If they bill at 6-month intervals.
right. So I don't know what kind of meters. I've been trying to get in touch with them, but we, in town, they use a type of meter, Neptune meters, that we use elsewhere that gives daily totals if you want them.
Right.
It stores 90 days worth of stuff. We go up, we go to the house, we push a few buttons, we get their entire, every 15 minutes, that little thing transmits what water is being used. Other towns use these for determining leaks in a house, for instance.
Right.
If all through the night, every 15 minutes, it's sending 1 gallon, it says, or 2 or 3
Right.
gallons, it's a leak. But if we don't have them in Falmouth, what I want to ask the water superintendent, if I can get hold of him, is to say, can we require these meters to be installed in addition to your town meters? Because that's what we did in Barnstable.
I believe that they have remote read water meters.
Yeah,
It's a question
they do,
is-
they absolutely do.
It's just what
but
the-
what do they totalize?
Right.
How much can you get from them? Because our department has the reader, we can read the meters, but we don't know what kind of meters he has.
Right, okay.
Just one question about meters. Would it be within the board's jurisdiction to say that if you have an irrigation system, you have to put a separate meter on it, not so you get a cheaper water rate on it, but so that we know how much to subtract from your other, and even if they didn't have a separate, and they could say, oh, well, it's already plumbed, doesn't have to be a separate line. You can just measure the total and measure whatever goes to the irrigation system and subtract. I mean, it doesn't require any complicated plumbing,
Correct.
just the installation of the meter.
It just depends on when DEP does allow us, hopefully, to use IAs as part of a watershed plan, what are they going to want to know?
Right.
If they ever go to mass balance, which I'm going to kind of doubt they will, that will be critical to know how much water is going out to the septic system.
Yeah.
There are some systems, for instance, at Vantex, which has a meter on them, that they know how much is going out, because that's telemetrically sent to them, and they know, okay, how do I adjust the process? But, not all systems are the
They're
same.
measuring the input to the tank?
No, they measure what goes out to the leach field.
Ah.
Right, so,
So essentially, they're measuring what comes
Yeah,
in
comes
the
in the
tank, unless it gets lost.
there's a lot of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but a much easier place to measure that.
Yeah, but because it's clean water, and they can
Yes.
meter it.
Well, it's, yeah, at least doesn't have solids in
How
it.
doesn't have solids in it, right.
So, okay.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you for attending the water quality management
Yes.
meetings.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. I can't make them very often. All right, our next item of business is discussion of the current well regulations. And I can't remember why exactly this was on our agenda.
Because you asked to put it on there. I had it.
Oh, yeah, so put it
Look at
on
the
the agenda.
it came up with the irrigation laws.
Well, I think we talked about the well application, you asked about the well application at the meeting where you continued for 68 Davisville. So I put it,
Yes.
Right.
application I'd have to show you online. It's a lot easier because it's an online application. But in terms of the well, my one suggestion is, I don't understand why we still worry about spite wells, because that's why the 50-foot setback was put in for irrigation wells, is because back in the day, apparently people put irrigation wells to prevent neighbors from building. However, you do have in your regulation that you have to abandon that well.
Right.
So we already have it in there, so all we're doing is making a 50-foot setback for an irrigation well needless, in my opinion. And so my only suggestion is you would revise it, so you don't need to have all these hearings on a 50-foot setback to an irrigation
Well,
well.
lot line, you
A
mean?
lot
lot
line,
line,
sorry, to a
right.
lot
Lot
line,
line,
yes.
yeah.
Keep the septic and keep everything the same. My one suggestion is you really don't need the 50 feet, because you already have that caveat in the regulation. That would save you a lot of time, at least here. We could be doing better things than approving irrigation wells and getting mad at the plan. No, I'm just kidding. Trying to get these guys to get plans is difficult. Well drillers don't like to do plans. They
I'm
like to
not-
drill wells.
I'm not following.
Yeah.
I totally agree that we don't necessarily need to hear a whole bunch of well approval requests, but what do you mean we are making it unnecessary? And I don't follow the
The
50-foot
spite
setback.
well.
Is there any reason
No.
to have a,
Well, in the regulation, you have a 50-foot spite well. How it was taught to me by the person I replaced was that it was in there, it's been in there for probably, George, a long time.
Yeah.
Is that it was, people would put in wells at the corners of their properties and say, well, you can't build a well. And so you put something in the regulation that says you have to abandon or relocate your well if it's going to affect somebody's ability to put a septic in. You're going to keep your same septic setback. It's just, what's the rationale of making the well to be 50 feet off a property
Right.
line when a septic can be 10 or a drinking water well can be 10?
Yeah.
What is so special about an irrigation well that we're forcing people to come here
Right,
a
to
lot
get
because they don't have
variances.
a 100-foot wide lot? And I'm just thinking, that kind of doesn't make sense to me to keep it on there. And I think if you want, I can post if it's something you want to do, we can post, you can look through the reg, there might be some reg, there could be some other things you might want to look at as well. I don't understand, but that's a more recent thing, why we have to do subsurface irrigation in sewer districts. So what you did last time is you said, we'll let you go 10 feet in sewer districts, but it has to be subsurface irrigation, which is relatively impossible, not really going to be done. But 50 feet, you can have above surface irrigation, sprinkler. So in my opinion, I think 10 feet or 20 or some adequate number would be fine, and allow irrigation wells to have less, and remove the sewer district 10-foot subsurface. But if you want to keep it that way, that's up to you. So those were my suggestions, unless you want to make it more difficult for the irrigation wells, which is the way you have it now.
So the 50-foot came about because we had historically people putting spite wells in.
Right.
And there was no other way to handle it. They said, somebody puts one on the corner of the property because they see these lots that could get developed they couldn't get developed with septic systems because that well was there, so they located their well right there.
Right.
So I say, yeah, okay, we could get rid of that. I can remember the areas, I think it was Shorewood Drive was when it first started.
Yeah.
But the subsurface irrigation piece in areas that were newly being sewered was so that you weren't drawing up right by where your septic tank system used to be, and then possibly dispersing in the surface by aerosoling what could still be in that contaminated water. That's what it was for. So they said, okay, if you're going to do it in the sewer area, which start off with just Mara Vista, make it subsurface disposal, because you may not care that you're pumping up your septic tank effluent that's been there for years and will be there for years as legacy, but your neighbor may not want to get the aerosol. And it is true that as clean as you think that water is, there are studies out there that show downwind of spray irrigation from treated wastewater, people get sick. So that's why they said, well, what's the best way to do that? Treat it like semi-wastewater, have it dispersed below the surface, rather than somebody getting out and putting the well right by their old septic, putting the sprinkler going back and forth, and their neighbors catching that.
Yeah, but the way this is written, it doesn't matter where the irrigation is. I mean, if you could put the irrigation well 50 feet from the lot line and still have.
No, we were talking about its dispersal.
Yes, but
it's tied
But the way,
Yeah.
for lots served by town sewer irrigation, wells may be located, I'm sorry, for a lot served by town sewer, irrigation wells may be located 10 feet from a lot line, provided that only subsurface irrigation is used. So, but that says.
Where you put the well was really not the issue.
Where the well, it's whether or not you're using aerosol, you're using wastewater aerosols, or you're potentially aerosolizing wastewater, and that has nothing to do with whether or not it's 10 feet from the lot line.
Correct, 10 feet
It's
from a...
10 feet from a system, but we require a minimum lateral distance of 50 feet to a system anyway, so that I was apparently chair during this, and I have no recollection of this particular regulation.
Yeah, this was when Marvist was...
Yeah. I don't remember why we did it.
Irrigation wells.
Yeah.
And they want the irrigation wells, obviously, so they're not billed for the irrigation water as sewer wastewater.
So, if I may,
Yes.
the solution could be, we still have the records for all the septic systems in the sewer district, because we didn't bother to throw them out, is we could still have a requirement, if you're tied to the sewer, you'll still need to maintain 50 feet from the previous septic system, and then have that sunset and whatever it is. So we could still go back to the record of the abandoned septic
Right.
and keep the well
That's true.
50 feet from that area and kind of treat it the same. No, we don't have every single record in town. If the cesspool was from the Nixon administration, we might not be finding anything, but you'd be surprised how many things we can find.
Right.
So, you
Yeah.
could also do that. So you could still, in the spirit of it, maintain the 50 feet from the abandoned spot.
I mean, and that would be the
Makes sense.
yes, that would be the best public health approach, I think. All right, so that's two modifications.
So we would strike the provided that only subsurface irrigation is used, and instead we
We just strike all of section, that's section 4, part 4, 4 lots served by.
well, then we,
No, we just say, maintain a minimum lateral distance from the well to the nearest septic system,
existing or,
existing or abandoned system of 50 feet.
then we'd also have to get rid of this
And
other
then-
reference.
How
50
And then get rid
feasible-
of 2.
how feasible is subsurface irrigation? Is it easy to do?
Drip dispersal,
It's easy.
It's
Sorry?
drip dispersal, which you use for wastewater all the time.
It's
most efficient.
lawn.
It's most efficient for watering for
Plants.
plants and everything.
Yeah,
Lawn.
but not lawn.
You could do lawn.
It's just pricey.
You end up striping it, but yeah, you
Yeah.
just add,
Stripe
you'd
it,
have to add more piping to kind of keep it. It's
Right.
not going to travel quite as well than it would be if you had it above.
I mean, I just, requiring that it be 50 feet from a septic system, if you're directly down gradient from that
Yeah,
septic
you
system,
might as
you're just,
well.
you're just
You're there
pumping
anyhow.
wastewater up into the air. It's
Right.
just bad. If it's 50 feet up gradient, fine, you know?
10 feet upgraded.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. I mean, it's, I know this is the way things are done, but
So,
water, groundwater moves in lines, not in circles. It doesn't diffuse out,
Right.
you know, and so.
okay, so if you, we're not going to do this for the next meeting, so if you want to come up with some suitable, 10 feet, up to 10, as close as 10 feet up gradient and more than
But then who's
X number of
determining?
feet down gradient.
How do we know
Yeah.
upgradient? I mean, it's challenging because you can get mounding. We
Right.
don't really know what direction water goes.
Right, so the simplest was
And
just
so
50 feet.
I just like subsurface irrigation unless it's been sewered for, I don't know, 5
Many
years.
years.
Yeah, however long you want to pick, yeah.
Yeah, but this,
I know that would cause an uproar, but
but this would be but this, from what you're saying, if it's an active septic system,
yeah.
it should be, any new irrigation well should be served by subsurface irrigation,
It
period.
would save a lot of water for the town too, groundwater for the town.
Yeah,
The only thing I thought we were putzing around with was the 50 feet from the property line. And I was good with that. The rest, I say, leave it.
I was going to leave it too, but
I have
yes.
just a question, because I had never read these before. So the fact that you can use an irrigation well to feed livestock, to those of you who know about toxins, if the people shouldn't be drinking the water, but people are going to be eating the livestock that you're giving this water to, is that an issue?
Potentially.
Depends on the contaminant,
Depends on the contaminant.
bioaccumulates.
So an example, not that people.
Right, no, I was sure the answer to that was yes, but it doesn't seem to be covered by these regulations.
No, because feeding livestock to people is covered by different regulations.
Does it say that they can't be getting water from irrigation wells?
No, but I think it says that they can't be contaminated with certain sorts of things.
Add contaminated food and water.
I don't think, it's a good question, but I would tend to think we wouldn't have high enough concentrations of bioaccumulating stuff.
We do.
We do?
So particularly PFAS. So the example is actually, these are drinking water wells rather than irrigation wells, but it would have been perfectly, that is up on, what's the name of the road? Not Hayway, but it connects Courier, right? Where the drinking water.
over there.
There's a string of drinking water wells, because there's the only road that doesn't have, one of the very few roads in Falmouth that doesn't have a water main. They were, from the base, they were re-injecting water that they had stripped out the various dry cleaning solvents and various other contaminants, but that contained, they were not stripping out PFAS efficiently.
Right.
And so it was before there was a health advisory for the PFAS, and they were doing a surface injection, and they contaminated a string of wells, drinking water wells, and people were not only drinking it, but they were also watering their horses with it, for example. So in that case, the health advisory presumably would, a horse drinks a lot of water, but doesn't necessarily live as long as a human. It's just we don't know.
I was thinking of livestock.
Well, fine. Yeah, but I mean, if they were keeping a cow there, or if they were keeping chickens or whatever else, yes. So in that context, it would be something that one would be concerned about. And if you were just eating the eggs yourself, That's, one thing you would need to be aware of. If you were selling the eggs, it's a different issue.
But it's somebody else, it's not our territory.
So PFAS and PFOA, do those magnify? Do they,
Concentrate?
do they concentrate?
No, they have a half-life, and each PFAS compound in
It's
there,
different.
thousands, have different half-lives in the human body and any other body.
Yeah, they don't
They're not like
biomagnify.
metals that will concentrate and
Yeah,
stay.
Right.
or PCBs, which
The
have
water
huge
soluble.
biomagnification.
Right.
But it depends. It so depends, because some of them are lipophilic, more lipophilic than others, but.
And have longer half-lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
There's so
still,
many
you
of them.
turn
You
over the
can't-
fat in a body over time.
You can't,
A
the
little.
problem with PFAS is you can't generalize. There's so many of them. Like PCBs, there's only 209 of them, so, we know a lot more about the classifications of them. But with PFAS, it's just, you can't generalize, unfortunately. Like even the main 6 ones are
Well,
behave
you can
differently.
say
Can we-
those
can we
long-term
generalize-
half-life.
They have a half-life.
Yes,
Yeah.
so unlike metals, which, are pretty.
Forever.
Depends on the metal.
Yeah, I guess.
It depends on the metal. I mean,
Yeah.
you excrete,
You do excrete, yeah.
Yeah, no, mercury is like 63 days or something half-life,
Right.
so.
So we did these regulations, by the way, the well regulations started when they started wanting to put wells in contaminated areas, like out at the base and the plumes. Whenever they hooked up houses, they said, well, what do I do with my well? Can I use it for irrigation? And we oftentimes required extra sampling in those because the regulation allows us to require, prior to using the well, this stuff, but we never followed up on, not yearly testing or things like that. So I think wells in general are going to be the Wild Wild West, because you go down to Mara Vista, you could be hitting some pretty serious contamination there and bringing it up and spraying it. So I think subsurface irrigation should still be called for in areas that have been recently sewered and people want to put their wells in to keep, it's a legitimate thing to want to use that water, and you're probably helping out to subsurface irrigate with it because
It'll
you're running
denitrify
it
it,
through getting some denitrification or some nitrogen uptake. So I think the only thing for now, messing with the regulation, is the 50 feet from the edge of the property line.
Right. One thing that I want to note, and this is noting for the record for public consumption, is that private irrigation wells are subject to the water use restrictions. And we are in a level 2 drought, which means there's very strict water usage, or there should be very strict water usage. While it's not something that the water superintendent has highlighted, because we have not spoken to him yet, I think that is something that perhaps as we continue into the multiple year drought that we are in, that should be something that we should be noting to applicants.
Who enforces it?
Yeah.
As far as I know, should be the water department. But we just need, if people just aren't aware of it. So there may be people who are perfectly, it's perfectly legitimate to, they're public civic minded. There's no reason to, assume that people are going to be evil. And so.
Well, evil's a real.
Strong word. It's a strong word, yeah.
That's a pretty strong word. Let's
They're
say,
going to be civic minded, and so therefore there's no reason to assume that people wouldn't observe the regulations.
well,
It just don't.
I see very little adherence to that regulation. I don't know about you guys, but
Right.
if you bike right around and you've gotten your pants wet, a number of times, you've realized how many people don't adhere to
And
that.
seen some beautiful green lawns.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes people are legitimately not aware of it.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I assumed that's why people wanted these.
Exactly.
Is so that they could water whenever they want.
Right, so do we
Well, it
consider?
is why they want it, but it's
Yeah.
not by state law and by Falmouth regulations, it's not.
It's a state law. Okay,
Okay.
that's
Right.
interesting.
Yes, state law says that you can't irrigate privately or publicly under certain drought conditions. Drought conditions are drought conditions. Groundwater is, as you know, groundwater is groundwater. It's not,
Yeah.
Moving in lines.
yeah.
So would it be wise to add a couple of clear statements to the declaration page when people are submitting their application for a well installation? Like, they have to
Yeah, it would
certify
be.
that they've
Yes,
read
it
the
would be very
regulation.
wise.
Good idea.
Yeah, if we clarify or highlight the prohibition on irrigation during, drought conditions, when the notices have been issued, and the limitation on the use of subsurface irrigation if you're in an area that was recently sewered.
Or you have septic, or you're not sewered.
Well, we've got to figure that out, because right now they have to be 50 feet off their septic system, which, as Kevin highlighted, may not be adequate, but we'd have to adjust the regulation before we could change that declaration.
I mean, we could, not saying we should, but we could say 50 feet, not directly down gradient of any septic system. And the best guess is that the water moves down gradient.
Right.
And, it may be slightly off of that, but
And/or toward the nearest surface water body? Well, no, that's not always
That's
the
always
right
the case.
answer. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of.
it can be
Tends to-
really tough for folks to determine, like, the
Yeah.
neighborhood went
Yeah.
in right by Mare's Pond, but that water supposedly headed toward Long Pond,
Yeah,
even though it's
Yeah.
spitting distance from Mare's.
yeah.
People would have assumed it went that direction.
Right.
All right, never mind.
So,
But we're definitely going to be aerosolizing
right.
viruses and pathogens, and no doubt about it.
So level,
Heat ain't much.
so a level 2, we are still in significant drought, declared on the, limited, outdoor watering is limited to handheld hoses or watering cans after 5 PM and before 9 AM. So no irrigation systems should be used at all anyway now.
Is there, maybe
at
this might appear in the newspaper.
Okay.
Are you looking back?
I mean,
Is there
you
a
never know.
newspaper? Oh, I love it.
Scott,
The Globe's right behind you.
I'm asking a landscaper right now. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, what's your question?
I'm just wondering if we ever sort of send out notices that are not, everybody's going to die of the plague next week, but more modest things like just a reminder that you shouldn't be using your irrigation system regardless of the water source.
Well, I think that's a discussion to have with the water superintendent.
When the
That's-
bans are changed, when the
There are
water
lots
ban,
of things that would be good to talk to water superintendent
Right.
about, but
So
yeah,
that's a
conditions
future,
over the water,
look at a letter.
conditions over the water supply are, should come from them. Drought normally comes
Yeah,
from
that
them.
sounds
Okay.
right. That sounds right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, how easy is it to modify Section 11 declaration?
Well, you just have to post the hearing and then have a hearing at a certain date.
Yeah.
On permitize? I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is not changing the regulation, just modifying the declaration that they have to sign in permitize.
Oh, changing permitize takes, whatever, there's a list of things we want changed in permitize. I've got a list of about 10 things. Short-term rental, I have to create a whole new,
so all we have to do is pass a motion.
to change,
No. No,
we're not changing the reg, are we changing an application?
we're changing the application. We
You don't
don't,
need to do
Don't need a
anything.
motion, we can.
We just
talk
I'm going
make
to
a
change the
request.
application, they'll put it in their
Oh,
queue.
okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Would it be good to, as a way to do it, a simple way, would it be to put the state reg there?
Well, that's what
No.
certifying to, is that they're familiar with the whole state reg.
Right, but if we put that section of the
CM.
regulation there.
Yeah, so
CMR.
if you want to make a vote to alter the
That's what I
application.
meant by a motion.
Sorry, I'm thinking that we're changing the reg. So to change permitize, we put in a ticket. call it a ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
We can put a ticket into Permitize. I've got, we always have tickets into Permitize because we're always changing things, and we can change and add a statement.
Do we have to actually vote on that, though, or can we just discuss and request?
You don't really need a vote because
Just asking Scott.
Just a request.
you like it, you don't like it, make a vote if you want, I guess, because I can make the application whatever we want to make the
But
application.
we do have to inform him
Words.
exactly what we
Words.
want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just, I don't have this with me. I mean,
Let's see if I can.
Compliance with water use restriction. I mean, the two things we're talking about that are key, the first one is that you must comply with all water use restrictions. And then this, go ahead.
Right.
The second one is that subsurface irrigation, you're limited to subsurface irrigation when you're in an area that was previously sewered.
Yeah, that's in the regulation.
Right, those are both in the reg, yep. So I can try to work on language here.
okay, well then, you can just connect with Scott on that. It's just a sentence.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Just in the interest of time.
yep,
Yeah.
And
Okay.
do you want to discuss the changes, have a hearing? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That's for the application,
Go-
right?
Keep going, yeah.
So do you want this to be back on in a future hearing to talk about the well regulation itself or not? Or you still-
Yes, I think what we should do is we should schedule a hearing to amend this regulation specifically to strike the 50 feet from a lot line, and we can finalize, if we need to change the language at all, we can finalize that at the hearing, right? Or do
Well,
we
you have to have a hearing with a proposed change in a reg, so you
Fine,
should
we have
talk
to have
about.
two hearings, that's right.
We only need
No,
two.
we don't.
No, you only need one, two for Title V.
Okay.
Okay, so, but I have to send it out to the well drillers who pull the application.
Right.
This is what the changes are. So you have
Right.
to give me the changes, so that would be the next meeting? You give me the changes, or you're ready to do that today?
Are we ready to change it?
I think we should read it.
Okay.
again.
Okay,
Let's
so the
read it
next
again.
meeting in
there were some other.
Yeah, I mean,
things
our
that
next
was-
meeting is going to be on Zoom, so
June 8th or whatever the next meeting.
June 8th.
Hold on. 8,
June 8th is a Monday.
oh, June 8th.
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
yeah, because the Monday that would work out well is actually Memorial Day. so.
Right. Yeah, let's take the time, because I had some other things I'd
Okay,
liked to.
then that's fine.
Might as well.
We'll amend that.
And lots of towns are adding testing for PFAS to their private well things.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to think about that or not.
We can think about it.
So after May 11th, the next meeting is June?
June 8th, Monday, June 8th.
Okay.
Time flies when you count by Board of Health meetings.
And yet they seem to
okay
come
by
up
me.
so quickly.
Yes, they do.
Okay, all right, we're
And it's a Zoom
close on time, but are we good on this?
Yeah, because we're
Okay.
gonna,
So we have a discussion on the waiver form for the plastic reduction.
So,
Yes, Scott?
so I didn't realize this at the time you made mention of it. This is directed to Amy mainly, is that staff had been playing with the form as
Okay.
well. So I believe there's a draft in there.
Yes.
Yeah, the draft was something like that we're playing. The one you see here is this one here that one of the members of the committee produced
Yeah.
for us that we started with. And there should be a draft that they were working on to make it cleaner. So,
That looks good.
June 8th meeting, a Zoom meeting?
no, just the
No,
511.
okay, all right, that's
The
all
May
right.
one.
511, if I may, can we step back a little bit? The 511 meeting is solely going to be for the operators.
correct.
Yes,
You don't want anything else on the agenda.
That's correct.
Yes,
Unless there's an emergency.
yep.
You're going to say that, yeah.
I heard an echo.
I agree that this form looks much better. The one thing that we were talking about trying to capture was some sort of context for the undue financial hardship checkbox. And so if we could find a way to create context for that, that would be great. Like increase in cost per unit item, or
As a percentage.
or
Yeah.
as a percentage, yeah.
So I had come up with a couple of possible things. First of all, I wondered if with this, the instructions for this form, if there was an example, a made-up example of what we're after, so they can see.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And so one might say the additional cost of the container divided by the cost of the goods in the container as sold. So if, taking apple cider donuts as an example, just randomly, if there are 6 of them being sold and they're $7, and the price of the container that he's currently using is, and I have no idea what the price might be, is a quarter, let's pretend, and it goes up to 31 cents.
Right, 6 cents over $7.
6 cents over $7.
Right.
Which is a lot different than hearing that a case of 200 of them costs $50.
Right.
Because that number has no context and no meaning. The other thing you could do if you wanted the incremental cost is the cost that's sold in the alternative container minus the cost as it's sold right now, divided by the cost as it's sold now would be the incremental.
Well, that's the same, right? It's the
It's
delta in
very
cost
similar.
of the container
Yeah.
over the total
Yeah,
cost of the
it's very
product.
similar.
So-
But now this is going to get very cumbersome, though, for things that they put salad in, but also potato salad.
Right, if it's, if
lettuce
the container's
versus
used for
lettuce
multiple
per-
Yeah,
things.
that's a good
by
point.
weight.
Or if it's fill your own container with salad,
Exactly.
right?
And then, yeah, it depends.
It gets complicated.
So, but I think asking for something, and rather than just saying, oh, it's a financial hardship, and, oh, okay,
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
and,
I think if you went with that first example you had, and then gave them the option for something similar or similar calculation,
yeah,
they would come up with something a little better than, oh, it's just cost too much.
yeah,
Right.
Because you've given them that you're really focusing
We're-
on the marginal cost
costs, right.
of the
I
container.
think
And the fact that the cost of everything is going up is true, and, you know, you could say it's relevant, but it isn't really relevant here at all.
Yeah,
The other thing that I worry about, though, is the burdensomeness of this regulation. And I say this with all due respect because
No,
it
go
was
ahead.
brilliantly created, versus the benefit to society of what we're doing here. And I don't know how to think about that productively. Because as I think Kevin once said, I wonder how many plastic forks are in a soccer field. Right, that's the kind of thing, you know, and if you go into a grocery store, the amount of plastic that is in there that is not in stuff that they repackaged. So all that stuff
Right.
is freebie.
Right, right.
It is
Chip
not-
bags, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
understood.
So,
But ultimately,
in a
we're-
way, I want to make this, if we don't make it, if we don't get quantitative information, then we're not going to have any idea what we're doing. And I think it also may help them realize that quantitatively, it's not that big a deal if the package went up 12 cents.
right, the exercise is valuable in and of itself.
Right.
And
so-
we are trying to drive thought.
Yes.
You know, in
So I
order.
think,
At least,
because we can, what we do with that information, we can be gentle, but at least we're as gentle as we want to be. So-
Right, and less so next
but
year.
it allows an informed conversation. Yeah, I
So-
like that as well.
Do people like the idea of giving them an example?
Yeah, I
Yes,
think that's
absolutely.
very helpful.
Scott, could you pick a random report that came back and send a couple to me so I can come up with an example? The other thing is, both of these forms lack the name of the business. And,
Yeah,
and the other thing I'm wondering, what do we do with these forms? Where does this information get put in?
stays with a permit.
Sorry?
So when you apply for a food permit, you fill out your information, emergency contact
And
number.
this is part of that.
Then there's attachments, ServSafe certification, right? Allergen certification, workers' comp,
Serve Save?
Yeah,
safety certification.
you have to have somebody
This is,
on staff.
this is part of their food permit application, so you have to have food safety certification, anti-choke for over 25 seats, right, they have to have the certification. There's an allergen awareness certification they have to go through, and then this would be as an additional. So if I looked at the permit and permitize,
So
this would reside with the
that's where it
attachment.
is.
It basically looks like a paperclip, and you go to all the attachments associated with that food application.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need the name of the,
So that's why it doesn't have it on it, because they're
Yeah, I see.
attaching it to a permit, and all the information is on the permit.
The other thing I noticed.
But
and
they
I
do
forget-
give, they do give it to us handwritten. And so sometimes it's coming to,
Yeah, legibility
so yeah, we
was
can
a
put, I've already
substantial
put a note
problem.
on there, put,
yeah.
That, I think I can't remember, somebody came to us with a permit to, one of these to look at and give them an exemption thing. I couldn't read anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, can we
Yeah.
make them fill out an electronic form instead of handwritten? Or is that,
we can't.
and I don't mean make them.
This is
it
all, that's a
practical
very
to-
interesting comment coming from an MD.
Right.
That was one of the sole benefits of the electronic medical record
Yeah.
is prescriptions.
Yeah.
Almost all the rest of it, all we've done is cause huge copy-paste problems.
Is
Right,
there,
yeah, yeah.
is there a training in class in medical school in how to write poorly? Because my grandfather and my father both had horrible handwriting.
Yeah. Hey, they used to be in Latin, the prescriptions.
It's better than that, it's true. Okay,
Yeah, so, but anyway, legibility is a huge problem. Is it practical to have this
I can make
be
we can make a fillable form out of any form.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And is that a
But we
burden
won't-
to people?
We can make it a fillable form, and it'll be 5 or 10% won't be, I can't do this and do it by hand, and we'll accept it, but it should be legible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I saw so this is our food, we have staff that do food, right? We have a part-time food inspector dedicated to food, and Morgan, who does the housing, also does the food. She's sort of like the hybrid, right? And so, I don't see these forms. Morgan goes through the forms, or Jane
Okay.
goes through the
Okay.
forms. So when I saw a couple come to the meeting, I'm like, wow. It's rough.
You know, the other
So,
thing
yeah,
is,
I get it. So it is something we have to be more legible.
the other thing might be to ask them whether, what would be helpful for them to see on these forms.
Well, that's why they were going through it.
That's what this is, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Well, the nice thing about a fillable form is,
it's record.
And
Well,
you can do
yes, but-
calculations.
yeah, you could use it to do that calculation
Right.
that you're talking about there, and then it would be
I think
Yeah.
easier for
working
them.
that
They don't
in
have to
is-
do their
Well,
own
each
math.
person's calculating a little bit different. I don't know how you'd make the
Right.
fillable form.
No, but we can,
You'd have to put
You put in the cost per container.
Delta cost.
Send me an email on this.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to make a,
Yeah,
right.
the
Yeah, yeah.
email
Okay.
might be a little bit of an Excel spreadsheet,
okay.
a very little bit,
One
about
simple
3
formula.
cells.
Yeah, one,
It's just,
yeah.
it's just gonna go to
You gotta
Morgan
put it in.
anyway.
Separately.
Okay, so George, you're gonna communicate with Scott
yeah.
on that, all right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just
The
send
only
me a
other
couple-
thing that.
I'm gonna send you a couple samples. Morgan will send you a couple samples, and you can probably maybe work with Morgan on it.
Okay.
Having me in it is like a third party, and I was just coming in, and then like, I don't, I'm
Yeah.
doing other.
Can I look at the permitized, can anybody look at
Best
the
thing, yes,
permitized things?
I mean, I could run a quick.
No, I don't mean now. I mean-
Anytime you come in the office, we could, if you want to stop by the office, I will run you through what permanence looks like.
All right.
It's a lifesaver.
I think the other thing that would be helpful when folks come in would be some context on where they are in the process.
Do you know how many filing cabinets we actually use for files in the health department? 0.
Wow.
This is a comment for George.
We use 0, we have 0 paper.
Okay.
Right.
That's my
Paper gets lost.
Okay.
But yeah, so when someone comes in with a variance request or a waiver request, it'd be great to know kind of from your perspective where they are. Like, have they made a ton of substitutions and these are their last ones, or is
That's a
this
good, that,
a whole
that's.
shebang and they're
yeah.
just like, it's 1, it's 2, it's 5, and I want to keep styrene?
Like the
You
guy
know?
from the hospital.
I mean, I have to ask where we are with it. I've noticed difference.
You've noticed a difference?
A little bit, but not, I mean, we still got the lids and, but we have better straws. I've noticed better straws,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna get away from that grippy, plasticky, the lid that goes on a,
We acknowledge
Right.
lids were tough.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to Jack and the Beanstalk, he has very good chicken with my salad, and I put the hot chicken on top of the salad, all white containers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I've seen that.
white containers.
White containers.
Those happen, and
I've
so like
noticed
you were looking at this incrementally, and you've got the low-hanging fruit, it's gonna be the tougher
Yeah.
things.
There's always going to be something that's going to be,
I think it has. It was a worthwhile endeavor. It's clunky, but there was no other way to make it other than being plastic.
The other thing, you could use a little context in the, why are you still using, is the supply chain something about, you know, I ordered 5 years' worth because the supply chain for the new one, the preferred thing has a 20-minute delay. Or just something about time.
Right, so instead of just the check boxes,
Yeah.
a little bit of context for each.
And I don't know how to contextualize that one. It's a difficult one.
Well, because
to-
no suitable alternative exists is a quick, easy check
Oh,
too.
yes.
But, you know,
Yeah. Well, that's covered in what is your due
what have you
diligence
looked
been?
at? Yeah.
But something about supply chain and time, but I don't know what.
We
So-
could say be specific.
right, I mean, that could be in the
Provide
note, that note
explanation.
section. It doesn't have to be specifically what due diligence was made to move away from, but
Although I do
like,
like that question.
yeah, no, I agree, but like, what efforts, you know, how did you determine whether or not this is an undue financial hardship? What supply chain issues do you have, and what was moved away, you know, like,
Right.
what other aspects? I don't know.
Do the grocery stores have 300 different containers that they use? I mean,
I would say it's over 100.
what have we heard, do you have a sense of?
A lot of them are the thicker plastic ones that were exempt, the number 5.
125.
I think 5's the thick one, right? The one that you would see for a tuna fish salad and stuff like that. It's got you really got to pull the lid.
Yep.
It's a 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a primary, like a deli,
Yeah.
all 5s, mostly. And then you exempted, I think, meat on that one. And then, so that's taking care of that. Bakery's going to use the same number 5. So I think most of the grocery stores are using the 5. That's the one that's like, you could reuse. They use it for storage, they use it for a
Yeah.
lot of things. If you went to a bakery, the 2-pound one would probably have sugar in it, or maybe if you have yellow sugar for decorating something, you would have that sitting in there. Sometimes the frostings are made up custom, they would be using those 2-pound things, and they just, you know, reuse them or not. But, so, I mean, I don't know how much you're really seeing. I think the black is the main thing.
Right. And we won't really know again until November, December next year anyway, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to keep us moving a little bit. Future business. So I got communication from the town manager, forwarded from the water superintendent. Since this came in today, it's not a full agenda item, but these are addressing things, at least 3 items. Everybody has the letter. The lead follow-up, the drinking water protection, and the freshwater pond protection. So these are things that we've talked about a number of times in the last 3 months. The nice thing is that he does note that there are no known lead services lines. So, but we will need to actually have a full discussion on this at a future meeting. The town managers indicated that Matt Lannon, the water superintendent, will be able to attend a future Board of Health meeting. So we will plan on that for
6/8.
June, I think.
6/8.
And send an invitation. So if there are any other questions that we'd like him to answer, he can answer either by email, or we can have him communicate with us before that meeting so we can have a fuller discussion. So these are certain things, and then what we'll do is, if there are any other questions, please funnel them to Scott and we'll forward them on. So, okay. Does anybody else have any future items?
Yeah. Since we're taking meetings, moving through time 3 and 4 weeks at a time, I'll be cycling out. I think it might be in July, but I'm.
Okay, so we need to find you a replacement.
Yeah.
I've had brief discussions with a possible, but I'm not going to mention that individual's name
Okay.
until I have a more full discussion with the very busy individual.
Yeah. I heard a rumor about a very busy individual.
And
I was surprised.
I was surprised as well, and
Yeah.
I have to pin him down.
I guess I'm the only one who doesn't know.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But if you do know somebody,
If you know somebody, yep. If you know somebody,
I know somebody.
okay,
It's probably your somebody.
okay.
what was that?
I said, I know somebody, it's probably your somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to be very vague, but I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, so.
Right.
Okay, yes, so, well, we'll have to, are you going to be here for June 8th?
Probably, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
okay. All right, we have minutes to review. The minutes of, let's do the 30th.
March 30th.
So this is just a revision of these.
Yeah, well, in the, on page 1, at the 536 mark, the Mass Alternative Septic System Center will review the urine diversion system. I think they presented the urine diversion system.
Well, that's just the agenda item usually gets carried, right? Like, so that's how the agenda item was written,
okay,
and
sorry,
then you
okay.
follow on
Good,
from
good,
that.
good. And then on page 2, way down at the bottom in red, requiring signage on the fitting to clearly identify at the house connection that urine is stored in the tank, as opposed to what is stored in the tank. It's urine, and we might as well just say urine. And then a single flow switch to prevent backflow. Is that a one-way valve somewhere that we want to have between the tank in the house and the tank on the truck? I have no idea what a single flow switch to prevent, I'm guessing that's what it was.
Is that what you were asking for?
What, no, I didn't ask for it, but it's not a bad idea, but I just have no idea what that paragraph might mean.
I think you were the one that mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, these were the things that you asked for. So
Yeah,
I think-
but I think it was a back,
No, one was mine.
No, the third one
That
was
was me.
Amy's.
Oh, okay.
And I think it wants to be a mechanism to prevent overflow of the hauling tank when pumping urine from the house into the truck,
Right.
as opposed to during removal,
Right.
because I don't know which way that is where.
Okay.
But I have no idea what the second one is.
Is there something,
Do we want to have a one-way valve somewhere so
a
that
backflow preventer.
they can't pump from the truck into the house? That's the only thing I could think of that this might have meant.
I think if it said a single direction flow switch to prevent backflow, wouldn't that solve it?
Yep.
From where to where?
Backflow implies from you're pumping out of something, so backflow prevent implies going back into that something.
Right, is that what's desired?
Yes, is to prevent, presumably to prevent
From the
flow
truck
from
to
the
the
truck
tank?
to the tank.
Right.
So it would just be a backflow preventer.
So if you stopped pumping and then
Oh, so it
and
wouldn't siphon?
disconnected, could
Yeah.
it backflow and dump all over the ground right there, right?
Yeah.
Because the pump is going to be at the truck, so you have a
And-
long run of
and
hose.
elevated.
Potentially.
Potentially, yeah, I wasn't sure if it'll be on the bed. But yeah, so you have a long run of hose.
Could just say a backflow prevention mechanism.
That's fine.
That's, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we need to specify beyond that, do we?
No.
If you all think it's obvious what that means.
Well, and I think he was
Yeah.
going to connect with, who's the group that's already pumping here?
Yes.
And he was going to model on,
Yes.
Place in Vermont.
And it's going to be
I don't,
Richard Institute, I think it was called.
Richard.
Richard, yeah.
yeah, although I don't necessarily trust them just because they write an op-ed piece every week in the newspaper about how wonderful this is.
Well, but,
I mean,
yeah, but
No, no,
but they have been, they have been regulated
We're
by.
here telling us
Right.
that we know how to do this, we've been doing it.
That's
a
not
lot.
the
No,
Rich Earth
different.
Institute
That's,
The Rich Earth Institute is the one in
in
Vermont, right?
Vermont.
yeah.
Okay.
And they're the
Yeah,
ones who
I-
are approved
totally
by
separate
Vermont
thing.
and by
Okay.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But just because they've never screwed up and connected the wrong this to the incorrect that, as George, the smart George pointed out, this has happened many times, and I've seen
Right,
it
for
damage
sure.
people severely.
All right, well, so, George, if
That's
you,
one.
whatever your, you had a whole series of comments that you made about
Well,
things that
this
he
was
should
all,
do. And I'm just wondering if this captures it.
I think, yeah, I think so.
But we also have.
That we're going to see the thing.
Exactly, the right to read the
Yeah,
details.
yeah,
So
right.
we get another look at it.
Right.
So it doesn't all have to be perfectly here, I don't think.
So, but in terms of the minutes, do we want the third bullet item in red to read, a mechanism to prevent overflow of the hauling tank when pumping urine from the house into the truck tank?
Sounds fine? Yeah. I think so.
That's fine.
And then, I think you had wording for the middle item, or, yeah, one of the two of you.
A backflow prevention mechanism.
Right.
Yeah.
For the tank truck.
Well, you wouldn't specify that
tank.
because it's actually going to be on the hose
Right.
between the house and the pump
Okay.
where you would need to have that.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Any other changes?
Yes, on page 4. George, in the 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph, are the two tanks in parallel or are they in series?
In series.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
You see that, Emily?
So it's a two-compartment tank or two tanks in series.
Right.
Correct. And then,
Good catch.
up from the bottom, the hospital guy, board members explained that the regulation is only on disposable plastics, not items such as reusable meal trays.
Yeah.
So scratch patient and insert reusable. That's all I had.
Motion to approve the minutes of March 30th, 2026, with the amendments made in the changes.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes for April 13th.
Man, I'm a second team.
On page 2, at 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph from the bottom, Ms. Roth pointed out a few typos in question, the red dotted line being at 19 milligrams. It should be 19 milligrams per liter. And in the following paragraph, might as well put the units in, 19 milligrams per liter threshold, and newer systems are the 10 milligrams per liter standard.
The only other thing I had circled was my name in my motion to adjourn. My,
I did it again.
feverish motion to adjourn.
Fixed.
All right. We're good?
Motion to approve with the amendments made, or amendments.
Second.
Plural.
Motion second to approve the amended minutes for April 13th.
Second.
It's already seconded.
Too late, George.
Too late.
We got you again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
And one abstention.
One abstention because he was not here. Okay, our next meeting is
5:11 on Zoom.
5:11 on Zoom, and we will have the Zoom link, and we will not be in here because everybody should be in their own space to avoid feedback.
In their pajamas.
Somebody feel free to tell me if I have my computer in my lap again.
I know, I was like, holy
Okay.
moly. It was a rough ride.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Oh, didn't we already do that?
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?